What's up, guys? Clutch Fan 37. Hope you all had a great holiday as well as Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Hope you guys got some really cool stuff. I know I did. Mostly for other people, but a couple things for myself. I've been absent for a while just because working with school and then working, and sometimes life just kind of throws some curveballs at you. But nonetheless, I'm here back, and today we're bringing you the Warrior Burn 2 Lacrosse Head review. Before we dive into the actual review and everything, I'm just going to talk to you about aesthetics, some of the changes from the original Burn, and my opinions on it, and then we'll get into the actual string ability and the performance of the head. So the Burn 2 has 17 saddle holes going down, which is pretty nice. I think that's pretty standard for most lacrosse sets nowadays. I think Warrior does pretty much 17 for all of them. The Mirage has 17. And you know, just most of the heads nowadays have about 17 holes, which is pretty nice. The Burn 2 is the updated version of the Burn X. The Warrior Burn X was okay. There's a problems. There wasn't any brace up here, really. And, it was, I mean, saddle design, it's almost the same, but it was very flimsy. The plastic itself was flimsy. There wasn't any new technology. It was basically just a new head Warrior produced. But they went back, revisited it, and made it 15 times better, in my opinion. So the first thing they added, obviously, is the Warrior lock throw technology here, which has come to be one of my favorites. The only downside is you can't really use it with a carbon fiber shaft, which is unfortunate because that's mostly what I use is carbon fiber. You can flip the shaft upside down and use it, but I don't know. Otherwise, it works with any shaft out there. The little thing that I have troubles with sometimes is this top one. It's very close to the top of the head right here, so what you have to do is kind of pull it down and put the shaft in. But once you get it in there, I haven't had any problems with these breaking. Some of the plastic does get shaved off, so I think if you put one of these new throw lock technologies on 3 or 4 different shafts, you may start to get a small amount of head rattle, but really not a whole lot. Screw goes in back there, obviously you've seen before. Bottom strings, there's 4, but just like a majority of heads, they're evenly spaced, very nicely spaced for leathers if that's your go-to, and definitely can double or triple wrap it if you want to get fancy with it. But get the actual head itself, obviously you got 6 top holes here, like I said, 17 sidle holes going down. The sidle holes are actually angled, almost like the Warrior Evo 5 with their tilt technology. If you look straight ahead, they're actually angled inward. And what they thought that would do is allow for a easier mid to mid-low pocket, but they actually did it backwards, in my opinion. Had they flipped the holes, it would have been better, because what I noticed when stringing the Burn 2 and the Evo 5 is no matter where you put the pocket, the knots would cinch upward in the head, giving you a mid to mid-high pocket naturally. So I don't know if that's exactly what they were going for with the Burn 2, but I know with the Evo 5, and a lot of people agree with me, it's flipped upside down. But really, you know, if you're a good stringer and you know a good stringer, they can easily find a way around it and string up any pocket you want. So no trouble there. One thing that's new is the Sim Flex, which is supposed to be the way that the head flexes. It flexes in a different way, and it's supposed to be very stiff and continue to stay stiff throughout time. Basically, all it is, it's kind of like Sim Rail, their old technology, but it's a little different. If you look straight on it or at the side, these look pretty thin and narrow, which I was worried about in the pictures, but if you angle it, these are actually very thick, which I think is great. It allows for a nice streamlined design. It doesn't have a lot of bulkiness to it, but on the inside it keeps it nice and stiff, especially down here where the Burn 2s had some problems with pinching, or at least up here in the middle portion of the head. So these parts are actually nice and thick, which is great. I think it's a big step up. They didn't change a whole lot, actually, from aesthetic-wise. Very flex here, a little indent on the scoop to shave down some weight. And then the cool little touch is they threw on a Warrior stamp here in silver. I think if you get a colored one, it comes in either silver or black, depending on the color. But aesthetic-wise, it's a very nice head, and I think one of the things I really need to touch on is Warrior following String King and dropping their price down to $70 a head, which is pretty great. You know, you get to the Evo line, where the Evo line's been around for 10, 15 years almost, and you can now get the top-of-the-line Evo 5 head for $70. The Burn 2 is $70. All their heads are $70. I think it's great. You know, obviously, a lot of people had troubles with spending $90 to $100 on a head, or even $110 when they first came out, which caused a little bit of problem. And then String King obviously was the first one to drop all their prices down to $70, or not all of theirs, but a very good head. The Legend Senior and all the Legend heads have been down to $70. The Mark 1 was $70. So I think after that, most places followed suit. Warrior has followed. They're all $70 a head, which is phenomenal. I think most places will start to follow that. Element Lacrosse dropped theirs down to $67.99. STX supposedly is dropping theirs down to $75. So I think hopefully by January next year, after Christmas, most manufacturers and companies will have at least a majority of their heads being priced at $70. So $70 for a Burn 2 is a phenomenal price. And I haven't seen any reviews of it, so I'm going to give you guys kind of the rundown of the functionality and stringability of it. Face shape, it's nice and wide. It's not too crazy. Nowadays, most heads kind of have almost a very similar face shape. It's almost hard to make a new face shape that hasn't seen before. The onset is very nice. It has a resemblance to kind of a sea or kinetic. The prequel is its own face shape. And the Burn 2 is nice and wide. They did this a lot for a lot of the box players for NLL season. They wanted a bit wider head, but also very stiff. They also wanted a new offering that's a little different from the Evo line or the Warp line. So face shape is great. I really like the scoop. It does have a little bit of lip here to protect your string, which it's not as drastic as I wish it would be, but it's still there. It still helps just a little bit, which is nice. The scoop itself is pretty cool. It doesn't have a whole lot of give to it, but it does give some. The reason being there's no braces here in the middle of the head. So when you go scoop a ground ball, if you're really going down it aggressively like an LSM or deep hole, you may have some troubles just with the scoop flattening out. But otherwise, it's very stiff head. They have the Burn 2 Max, which is made for defense and LSM, so there's really no problems there. If you want to pick up the Burn 2, the offensive one is obviously the Burn 2 Original. The Burn 2 Max is for defense and LSM. Getting the actual pocket and stringability, like I said, this is a custom houndstooth one I did. It's black and white. I call it the Gunslinger pocket. Lots of stuff I took from my old coach's lacrosse sticks, and I absolutely love the way they throw. I just kind of threw my own twist into it. But basically, you know, it's no matter what you do, I try to go for a mid to mid-low pocket like right here. But as you stretch the pocket out, since the knots tend to cinch upwards, it does push the pocket up a little higher. Stringability, though, it strings up really nicely. I wish that the holes were a bit more evenly spaced. The top four right here are pretty close to the scoop. As you can see here, I wish they would have just even taken this top one out and added a bottom one down here. I think that would have added a little bit more, or maybe made the holes a little smaller throughout so you could get one more hole, or at least move these ones down. But regardless, like I said, if you know a good stringer, you know how to string a good stick, really don't have any troubles with it. Getting into the actual playability, I really like the head. Like I said, the scoop, after playing with it and scooping ground balls, it was a little janky just because, you know, if I really put some effort into it, or I really kind of didn't go at it at a good angle, kind of came down choppy, the scoop would flatten out a bit. Didn't really cause many problems. Durability-wise, shooting with it, it didn't really flex at all. It stayed nice and stiff, even with the die job, which is really cool. I think that might be a slightly new plastic, or a stronger plastic than what they used to use. But overall, the plastic and stability is pretty nice even after a couple of days of practicing with it. Like I said, the throat lock here, this one's dyed black. Just dyed black. I had some troubles getting this onto a certain shaft, but Warrior shafts, it fits pretty nicely. So obviously a little marketing scheme probably. But otherwise, the Burn 2 I think is a fantastic option. Nowadays, with most really top-of-the-line heads being $70, you really can't go wrong buying any Warrior heads. You know, obviously there's the whole Warrior and their marketing scheme and stuff, and people have issues with that. But at the end of the day, if you trust Warrior and you like their products and you want to try something new from them, I think the Burn 2 is a fantastic option. Me personally, would I use one? I actually would. You know, I think if I pinch the face shape a little bit like this for box, it'd be great. But naturally, the head will probably pinch a little bit. So I'm excited to see where they go with all their new lacrosse materials, new heads coming out soon next year. Sergio Perkovic supposedly may have a line coming out because he's, you know, Sergio Perkovic. But Warrior Lacrosse is doing some pretty cool things, dropping the prices to $70 and continuing to manufacture some top-of-the-line heads. And the Warp is a pretty cool option. There's a lot of people thinking that Warrior is going to just do strictly the Warp products eventually, but they're actually going to keep doing a bunch of these sets because they come to find out the Warp is great, but it's not for everyone, and they recognize that. So kudos to Warrior for dropping their price down to $70. The Burn 2 is available at all of your local retailers. I don't get sponsorships for saying that, but you can go pick one up pretty much anywhere now, which is really cool. They come in, I think, 5 different colors. Pretty cool idea. You know, like I said, just quick little overview. Also, this thing's pretty cool. It's Big Warrior Jewel. I'm not a fan of it just because it's so big and it's a big branding thing, but it looks kind of cool. So you have this and this for some aesthetically pleasing stuff. The face shape is a little different. It's nice and bulky. The old Burn was flexible. This is pretty nice and stiff. The Sim Flex technology here and all throughout the head is great. It allows for a very stiff head with some cutouts. And like I said, looking at it sideways, these look nice and skinny, but if you look at it from a different angle, they're nice and thick. 17 stringing holes. They're angled a little upwards, so if you like mid to mid-high pockets. The Burn 2 is probably the best option for you from Warrior just because naturally you string them up, the pocket sits a little higher, which, you know, it is what it is. But if you know what you're doing, you can string something else. Anyway, guys, wow. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That's the Burn 2 review. I would do a Burn 2 Max review, but I don't play LSM or defense and never really have, so I'll let someone else do that review. But Burn 2 is a great offering, especially at $70. You can't beat that. Anyway, check out my website, iconiclacrosse.bigcartel.com. I'll post a link down below. Got some big things coming, but until then, this Houndstooth Burn 2 with String King Fiber Mesh and a Gunslinger Pocket is up for grabs, as well as a handful of other Houndstooth dies. I got a gray and white Nas 2, pretty sweet. Black and neon green ECD Mirage. Red and white Command Low. A black and white Stallion 700, which might be my favorite. And then lastly, a navy blue and white Command Low. The Houndstooth dies are really cool. I really like them because they're unique and they take a lot of time to do. Probably about 2 to 3 hours since each decal is hand laid. But otherwise, you know, pretty cool stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know your opinions on the Burn 2. And let me know if you think other lacrosse companies are going to start following the $70 price mark. I know Element Lacrosse, which will be a huge playmaker, hopefully by January. Warrior and String King are doing it, and hopefully STX. There's been rumors about it, and I've seen some price drops, but not sure. So one last look at my custom Burn 2. These things are pretty sick. You know, if I was a Warrior fanboy, this would probably be my go-to head from them.